Intro.
Gotta show Peter at his best.
Yeah. Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spin Legal tonight. This is episode number 38 on the 16th of October, 2024. This year is cracking along, isn't it? It's going way too fast for my liking.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, 2024, it could end and I would be happy.
Just so long as 2025 makes it better.
It's better.
Yeah. Okay, so here you're on episode 38 of Spin Legal with Angela Browne, Peter Giblett. We're partners at Invictus Legal LLP. And tonight our question is, when I go shopping, what are the legal implications? There we go.
Yep.
So one thing to start off with, if you need to contact Invictus Legal, you can do so on 905-688-5598 or email Angela at weareinvictus.legal or me at peter@weareinvictus.legal, and or you can go visit our website anytime at https://weareinvictus.legal. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. And just as a intro, good evening, our loyal follower, Robert DePaul. Okay, so when I go shopping, what are the legal implications? It's an interesting question, because I'm going to go straight to my next question, which is, I love these people. Most people hate contracts, don't they? Most people do not want to know about contracts. Contracts are the bane of their lives. Who wants to know about contracts? I don't want to know anything about contracts. But I guarantee you, people, you've been involved. We're at 6:30 at night, and I guarantee you've been involved in at least 10 contracts today. You've partaken in 10 contracts at least today. And it was all to do with shopping, right? So when I go shopping, what are the legal implications? The basic legal implication is that you are not signing a contract, but you're agreeing on a contract. So I'm buying my trusty old fisherman's friend here, and hey, they can pay for advertising space if they wish. And I buy it at Shoppers Drug Mart, and there's a contract there formed. You know, I looking for the pack, find the pack. Yes, that's an invitation to treat. I pick it up. I'm not yet forming an offer until I go to the till, and when I go to the till, I'm saying, "Here, please, Madam Till Person," or even Mr. Machine Till Person.
That's usually the machine. You like the self-serve.
Yeah, well, whichever way you're doing it,
it's
only at that point that you're creating a contract. Right? So that's where the legal implications are. You create a contract when you buy something. Doesn't matter whether you're buying it from a machine or a person. Rules are the same. And it looks, and Robert makes the point, to have money. Yes.
Yeah,
we'll get there. We've got some thoughts about that as well.
Yep, exactly.
So the answer to how many times a day you execute a contract, just think about it. Every time you go buy something, that's like you go, and I'm not recommending the first of them. You go buy cigarettes on the way out of your residential complex in the morning. You go to the gas station. You go on the 407. You pay a toll fare. You get on the
somewhere. And
you get on the parking. You go on the subway. You go by bus. You go and buy a newspaper in the convenience store. All of those things, contracts. So if you think about, add those things up in a day, how many times you individually go to store, get a coffee, get it, whatever it is you're getting, you're going to form that many contracts in the day, right? And each of them are different because, the fact that you could have gotten a coffee down the road from your, when you went into your first store and you bought a pack of cigarettes, or you could have bought your coffee, newspaper, and your cigarettes all in the same place, right? You chose all different places because, hey, we know that coffee bar down the road is actually much better than this place.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and each of these contracts have terms and conditions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you're like going into a store is not an absolute right. This is private property.
Yeah. So
the person who
what you're saying to me is if you've got a store and, hey, I've got black skin on me, you can tell me, hey, I'm not serving you.
Oh, that'll be an offense. You'll be dealing with human rights.
That could be. That certainly could be. That's for sure.
But what if you're a Karen or a Kevin and you go into a store like during the middle of the pandemic, and then you throw a tantrum because somebody tells you got to have a mask on when you shop, and then you throw yourself on the floor and throw a fuss because this is my constitutional right. You don't have a constitutional right to be there.
Absolutely, because it's a private property, and even though members of the public and usually any member of the public is permitted to walk in to a store. In fact, actually, let's be honest, every storekeeper wants every member of the public to come into their store every day.
It's not just you they want; they actually want something that's in your pocket.
MONEY.
Cash. They want whatever it is that you have.
They want your money. They want your money. Yeah.
So if you go into a store and you have no money and you're just going and making a scene, they'll probably ask you to leave.
Okay. So as we know, there's various portions of a contract. There is offer and acceptance. There's invitation to treat. And essentially, when you go into a store and you look around and you go, I like that over there. I love that. Oh, that's great. Oh, I can't go without taking that.
Like that computer you like.
Or whatever, doesn't matter. Everything that you go in there and you look at, this is called an invitation to treat.
Yeah.
So they laid the goods out
to look at. They'll tell you how much it is. They will say, okay, you're welcome to try, test it out. Doesn't mean you have a contract yet, but it's still an invitation to treat because they're trying to tempt consumers into saying, I got to have that. Right? Yeah. And they'll take out their credit cards.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the point at which you take out your credit card and you walk up to the store with your bundle of goods and you say, I want this and I want this. And then they say, yep, that cost you $17.95. Right? That's the point when you've actually turned an offer. You've made an offer and it's been accepted. Right? Now, and there's a famous law case. It's a British law case called Pharmaceutical Society of versus Boots the Cash Chemist Southern Limited. They go by Boots the Chemist these days. 1953, and it sets up the modern rules of going into supermarkets, how we buy the things in supermarkets. The fact that I can pick this item up, I put it in my trolley, and I come across another one later on. Oh, that's nice. I put this one back down, and I come up with the other one. Boom, put that in my trolley. Right. That is all about. It's all about using the invitation to treat. The trolley is not an offer in itself, because at the end of the day, you walk around the store and you kind of suddenly put your hand down in your pocket and go, oh, I haven't got my wallet. I left it in the car. Uh-oh. Yes, exactly.
It sounded like somebody forgot car fob when we were first going out today.
Well, there is a couple of things you could do at that point. You could certainly leave your trolley there fully laden with stuff and cross your fingers and go, I'm going to the car park and I'm going to get my wallet and I'm getting and I hope the stuff is still here when I get back. Or you could kind of leave your loved one with the trolley and hope they're not bored to tears by the time you get back. A lot of that depends upon how far away your car is parked or something like that.
Because the further away your car is, the more likely the things will be gone when you get back.
Yes, but actually the funny thing is I did that one time a few years ago, and I put the trolley round the back in an aisle where people don't normally go. And I went, damn, got to go back, get my wallet. Went back there, got the wallet, came back. Absolutely everything was still in the trolley. Not a thing was gone, but hey, that's the way it goes. Okay, so now when I go to
carry purses, I think might
Sorry?
help. Men need to carry purses. I think that might help.
Well, Pharmaceutical Society sets the rules about how we go. So even with that particular trolley, you decide, hey, at some point you take a phone call. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not actually buying this stuff now. I've got to go off to the airport because Auntie Mavis is dying. Right? It's fine. Just leave the trolley where it is. You've not agreed to buy anything. At that point, you're free to just go.
Yeah.
The store owner might well be a bit annoyed at you leaving the trolley, but
particularly when 50 people do the same thing.
But they're used to it by now, to be quite honest, aren't they? So in terms of forming a contract, you form a contract literally when you go to the cash desk and they start ringing the money up. So at that point they're going ka-ching, 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 and then the whole bill comes through and it's like $17.95 and like, hey Angela, you got the money? $17.95.
Yep. And then you'd either hand over your card or your debit card or pay in cash or whatever.
And at the end of the day, let's be honest about this. We'll never get rid of cash, will we? I don't think.
No, and I hope we don't.
Yeah.
Because for many people, cash is important for them.
Yeah, I really don't think we will.
I deal with things electronically. Yeah. But we have many clients who only pay cash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because some of them are unbanked. Some of them just choose to be unbanked because they don't trust big corporations.
Yeah.
Some of them feel also that if they're going to be paying me, even though they may have means to pay electronically, but they prefer to just pay cash.
Yeah.
They don't trust checks, they don't trust banks, but they will come over with the cash and then it's okay. I know that you paid X number of dollars. Like in our business, we have to write a receipt to them immediately when they pay cash, because somebody can come by and say, I paid you $2,000 in cash, when in fact, in reality, they only paid $1,000. Right? So there has to be something that both people sign. The client sign, we sign.
And it's important to note that forming a contract in a store, it literally is at the point when you've it's rung it all up and you've got $17.95 on the thing, and Angela whips out her $20 bill and says, "Thank you very much. Put the change in the kids' orphan fund." Or whatever it is. Whether you take the change, put it in the fund, it's immaterial. That's a contract formed, contract executed at that point.
Yep.
See, contracts are easy, aren't they? Contracts are easy, aren't they?
Yep. You walk out and it's safe. So go and buy a book or something, because you're going to a bookshop and you wander around and you see some books you're interested in, you browse them a little bit, and you say, hey, I got to read this one. I got to buy this one. I think Peter's like me. He likes to have books and he likes to read them. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Same as me, because you like to have your own little library where you can go in and read them. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that we do. Like some people will bore them from the library. I don't mind going to the library and browsing either, but having your own books and your own copy of things gives you the right to read the book whenever you want to.
Yeah, that's at Tuesday. That's on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
And stay away from me. I'm book reading on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But my point was that with everything we just said there, most people believe that forming a contract is a tough thing to do. They kind of, oh, it's got 1,000 pages. I've got to read through every sub clause and sub clause. You want me to read all of that lot?
No. Exclusions and so forth, and references to other legislation and everything else.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you see, we've been forming contracts for thousands of years, and when we just do it the way that we've always done it.
And it's an offer, acceptance, and consideration.
Yep, exactly.
That's all that happens. And it doesn't have to be in writing.
And it's very often, as I said, with going to the supermarket, going to the convenience store, going to the gas station, it's all done in an instant. It's all verbal, essentially. I want $30 of gas. Here you are, sir. Give me the $30. Bang.
Some contracts can be exploitive, though. Like when you go to a gas station, isn't that kind of contract exploitive?
Why?
Because of the cost of gas. It's like saying, like, you want to go out with your girlfriend and say, I want to go on an expensive date. And then you take her shopping with you at a grocery store. And then afterwards you go and get a tank of gas.
Yeah, okay? So you snog at the gas station. Yes, that works. Yeah, that's an expensive date these days, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Never mind a dinner and a movie.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So there's one important aspect here. We just did. Okay. So what if I don't have the money? It's $17.95 and I've only got $16.25. Damn.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to take something out from your package. If you got 5 items, you're going to have to take at least one of the items out.
Well, technically, this is a breach of contract at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have the money to pay, but it's easily resolved because you got $17.95. You're $1.50 short, or actually a bit more than just under $2 short. Take the Mars bar out and give it back to the shopkeeper. He's good with that.
Yep. Yeah, right? That generally happens. I've seen it happen where people had to put groceries back because they don't track themselves and they don't track costing as they go through for groceries. And I do. I come up with a little calculator.
Well, the only thing about that is I used to be better at that in UK than I was here, because in UK, all of the things include HST. So if you're buying something and the price on the label is $6, whether it's got HST in it or not, it's $6, right?
Most groceries are not HST.
Yeah, I know.
But
every once in a while, there's an HST on a grocery, and you go, I'm out by $72, 72 cents because of the damn HST.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just kind of added it up, and then you just throw a little bit on for what might be some of the HST added.
Can you explain the sanity clause?
The sanity clause. Explain that, Peter.
I don't know. I don't know. I have to say, did I say something out of turn?
Maybe you said something that was supposed to be insane. I don't know. Like if you're going out shopping.
Oh, okay.
Insane?
Okay. Well, there are a couple of things to note, actually. Technically, you can't execute a contract if you're not in your right mind, or if you're drunk, incapable, or
even if you have a periodic blip where you're unable to do so.
Like, and even if you're a child.
Yep.
Technically, children can't buy things, right?
Yep.
We change the rules. We allow them to, because because we kind of fudge the rules there a bit. But
people who are under 18 could contract for goods and services that are necessities of life. Right? So, for example, if they need to have a place to stay, if they need to have a place to live, so they can contract, sign a lease.
Yeah.
They could go out and buy groceries. They could do certain things. There's certain things they can purchase.
But they can't go and buy a BMW.
No, they can't buy a BMW. Although if they live somewhere out in the middle of Timbuktu and they need to have a car in order to work, they could be able to. They would have to buy something that's nothing fancy, but something that will do the job.
Yeah, but again, in that instance, if they were living out in the middle of nowhere, a BMW might be sufficient, even if they've got Jarvis to drive them in.
Yeah. So there's different things like that they have that are necessities of life. In necessities of life, there are some court decisions that say no, a car isn't necessary, and some court decisions have stated yes, it is. In certain instances.
Yeah.
So there's different things for your minor. If you're under 18, and otherwise, or if you somehow become mentally incapacitated, whether it's through a stroke or Alzheimer's disease, or you had an accident or something, then you cannot sign a contract and make it void. Although there are people who might challenge that and they say, look, I am capable of doing this, and I would like to have somebody assess me, to test my capacity.
Yeah.
And this would be a capacity assessor from the register with the public guardian trustee. They'd come on down and they would assess you.
Okay. Moving on. There's another twist in our tale from shopping, and hey, I'm using the most common name, but it means other things as well. So I'm ordering from Amazon. Are the rules different? And I said Amazon, but hey, that's because they're the world's largest store today.
It could be Temu, it could be Walmart online, could be anything.
Yeah. Could be Wish, could be any store that you know about online, Etsy, whatever. On online shopping, it's an interesting question about are the rules different? No, essentially they're not. If you think about it, it's at the point when you put everything into your cart. It's exactly the same. You're going through and you're saying, well, I want the book, I want that book, and I want that LP, and I want that CD, and I want that pair of shoes, and I need that dress, and I need that suit.
So instead of walking into a physical store, you're going onto a website.
Yeah.
And on the website, you'll see items that say, okay, available in stock. Hey, okay, I want one.
And you check your size out. Hey, it's a 42 extra long. That bang on for me, man. Right, that type of size. So you check all of those sort of things out. You've got to be more careful, arguably. Although actually, I would say it's exactly the same as going into the store. And the difference being is that you do have to check out. Sometimes what will happen is you pick out, I want XXX size 42, and it says, sorry, we only do XXX in size 38. Make sure you don't click OK on that one, right?
Or we don't have that size in stock right now.
Yeah.
And they might ask you, do you want a rain check?
Yeah.
Sometimes they will do that, which will allow you to get the item when they have it in stock.
And the rules are exactly the same, because whilst the items are on the shelf at Amazon or whatever your store is, they are exactly an invitation to treat. You've done nothing. You've put them into your checkout. Let's be honest, even if you were to get called into work now and you had to leave your shopping cart and go to work, your shopping cart's still there when you get back.
When you return, get back in, and then you look at your shopping cart. You make sure everything is in the cart that you want. Or you may want to add a few things and continue shopping. Hey, and
Your
then
shopping cart's a bit more secure than it is in the Shoppers Drug Mart that I left it in earlier on, isn't it?
exactly. And that way, you just go in there and say, okay, I want to have this and want to
Yeah.
have that. And then it said, okay, so I got enough now and I need to pay. So I've got
Yeah.
enough room on my credit card. Okay. Hey, make sure there's room on the credit card, Peter. You pay. And then it says okay and accept it. And then they send you something by email which shows what you've ordered.
and
And
again,
gives you an approximate time when you're going to get it delivered.
yeah. And again, with that sort of thing, if we go back to the question of what if I don't have the money? I only have 16.25 in my credit card, and I need 17.95. Well, at least the one point here is that everything's secure in your trolley. You can go and add if you need be. You can, and you happen to bank in the right place. You can probably add, $10 to your credit card balance, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Or you can wait
out,
for it to clear the following day or day after, and you'll be fine again.
yeah, like they're not going to send out big thugs after you and beat you up at your house or something.
Oh, why not? That would be fun.
Because
That
you're
would be
$10 off.
fun.
You're $10 off on your credit card.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about another subject entirely, completely off of this, and it applies to both online purchases as well as in-store purchases. When you need to return items, what are your rights?
Yeah, and this is the rights that are determined usually by the store, okay, for specific reasons. And there's rights that you can't return them because there might be hygienic reasons.
Well, I was going to say there's a couple of things that we can know off the top. Some might well be limited returns. For example, Shoe Brand Warehouse do this. They basically say you can get a store credit if you bring your items back, or some items they say no, these are last sale items, they're not returnable, but they have to be very clear at the point when you're taking the item away as to what the limits are on return. Store credit's another option, but be aware that there are things like shoes, underwear, perishables and electronics that may not necessarily be returnable. We were talking earlier on, though, that say, for example, you went to Sobeys or Zayres or somewhere and you bought a pack of cherry tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
And as you're basically doling them out to actually get ready to serve them out on 2 days later, you suddenly realize that there's several in the bottom of these that are moldy. Right? You do have the right to take them back, to take them to the store and actually say that, hey, these are these have gone off, especially if the sell by date's in a month's time or something like that.
Exactly. Like it occasionally happens.
Yeah, and most stores will take perishables back.
Yeah, take it back in those circumstances, and then they will allow you to go pick up a new one.
Yeah, that's very often what they do is they'll allow you to pick up a new one so you can go get the new cherry tomatoes, or if there aren't any cherry tomatoes on the shelf, maybe you get something else to replace it for the same value.
Yeah, because this is what they try to do, and the reason they have the returns is not that because they have to by law. It's just that the stores do this because it is a customer service.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they want to serve customers and they want to make sure customers are happy. They don't want to have customers walking out the door and then finding out whatever you sold them is not going to meet their needs.
Yeah.
Right? And they need to give it back. Right? So you should have some return rights on certain things, and it has to be within a certain period of time too. Like you can't take something back and then buy something and then 3 years later and say, oh, I want to return this. It doesn't work.
I heard a story though that one time that it didn't matter what you got and where you got it from. The Target one time used to say, if you bring it back, you can get a store credit on it. So people were taking like their old freezer back that they'd had bought 5 years ago, and it expired last week. So they returned it, and even though they didn't buy it from Target, they actually got a store credit and enabled them to go and buy a new
that
freezer.
happens. Generally, you require that you have proof that you got it there, or even at another.
Well, I was going to say that's
store. Like, say if you bought it at the Walmart in Niagara Falls, and you're going back to the St. Catharines Walmart to show that you bought it at a Walmart. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty good with that sort of thing.
Yeah. A couple of things to note about shoes and underwear is they're not generally not returnable for the obvious reason. You take a pair of shoes away, you know, when you're in the store, you're expected to try them out, which means that you walk around in them, dance your spring dance or whatever it is you want to do in them to make sure that they are actually work. Underwear, you know, again, for the obvious reasons, what you don't want to do is you can't return them.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to shoes can be returned when it comes to online stores. Amazon takes shoes back. But as far as I'm aware, they don't take underwear back.
I don't think too many people would be taking back underwear because you don't know where it's been.
Yeah. And you might find, again, you might find some of the electronic stores will credit you the value of the underwear that you purchased, but they won't take it back.
Yeah. And even some electronics, like sometimes like you get some kind of a small electronic device, like say a cell phone or an iPod or something like that, and then you take it back home and you bought it, but it doesn't work. There's something wrong with it. Okay, store will take it back, but that lets you get another one and take it home. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's more like a store credit than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Because just that they don't want to have.
And I get that. So you're taking your cell phone back, and you may be taking it back today because, hey, the damn thing just broke, just fizzled away on me right now. Better take it back right now. And then the person at the store says, but I can only give you a store credit. We can sort out what your replacement phone is, and you suddenly look at the clock. Oh, sorry, I've got to go to work. All right. You got store credit. You've got a piece of paper with the store credit on it. You can come back when it suits you and buy what you need to
come back on the weekend. And
even if that's not and let's say that you're not buying a cell phone, you're buying you're buying a I don't know, a blender or something like that from the kitchen store. You're not limited. Yeah,
tablets can be neat too, or those what do you call those things that they look like laptops, but they're not quite laptops?
Chromebook.
Yeah, things like that. People like those. I wouldn't buy a Chromebook though.
Not sure I trust them yet.
Yeah, I gotta wait till all these things get tried and true, and everybody writes about them, and you hear about 1,000 reviews.
Well, it's like some of these have been around for quite a while, and I have had tablets, and
tablets, okay.
And I have to say that I've been less than pleased with the results. Right? They are too small for the size. You don't really, and typing on them is pretty tight. Even if you've got a separate keyboard, it's not the same feel as a computer keyboard.
Yeah.
Right. When you think about it, this computer keyboard is pretty big. The tablet keyboard is possibly only about the size of my cell phone, larger than my cell phone. So not exactly what you call big, right?
Yeah, and it depends on what you need it for, too.
Yeah.
Right? Many people just use it to watch videos.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Others use it to just to play games, right? Depending on what you want to do on it. Right?
Yeah. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of stuff about shopping, but we haven't touched this one actual aspect, which I think we have to consider. The 5-finger discount. What's its impact on shopping?
There are people out there who think it's a victimless crime to go shoplifting. They walk into the store, they carry fairly large pocketed coats where it's enough to fit a tablet or a laptop in, and they just
That
take
kind of thing.
things with them, and then they try to walk out somehow. And one of the things now, how that affects people, first of all, it increases prices because what happens is the store has to impose more security on all the
Yeah.
devices. We go in, we're looking at laptops today, and every one of the laptops, if someone even moved it or took it off the table to do something with it, an alarm would ring.
Could ring, yeah.
You know, and then also, and then there's other things that if you take out that they have that dye stuff on it. If you don't take it to a cash register where they would cut it off and then you pay for it and you go with it, they can leave it like there would be dye all over the place.
Mm.
There's lots of things that they've had to do, and that costs money to put all
Well,
those.
the other aspect about it is that I think in the last 6 months, everybody's seen the advent of gating around their supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
Where it used to be just run your trolley in, run your trolley out, no restrictions on where you're going.
Nobody was standing there. I walk out of the superstore. There's always somebody standing there as I leave.
Yeah.
And if you're going to use a self checkout, there's always someone standing there, and sometimes they even want to look at your receipt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's laws around that. Like you can say that you don't have to show it. You know, there's certain laws and civil liberties in it. But why they're doing that is because there's people who they buy 35 items and they put it through the self checkout, and they pay for 30 items, and the 5 items somehow get into bags somehow.
Yeah.
And then they don't show up on a receipt. So there's a lot of that stuff, and the store loses business. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, yes, the stores make a huge profit, but at the same time, when they have to start putting things down and tying things down and putting security measures into all of these things, it costs them money, and as a result, they pass it down to the consumers.
Yeah.
Those of us that do not steal, we're paying for the people that do steal.
Yeah, and it's not a victimless crime.
Yeah, exactly.
We the other shoppers in that store are the victims, because even if they put the price of bread up by by a penny, it's still a penny that I didn't have to pay last week.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where, and then I went into one of the Walmarts that we have here, and they used to be open until 11 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And they've been open till 11 o'clock at night ever since I knew that Walmart had opened. So it suddenly changed its hours to 10 o'clock at night. And you go in and say, how come it's open till 10? And they're saying too much shoplifting. Okay, if I was shoplifting, wouldn't you shoplift anytime the store is open? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but again, I suppose, you know, you and I are not that way in minded, and we're not necessarily looking out for when the best time to go shoplifting is.
Shoplifting hour.
We're not thinking about that, are we? We don't, you know, it doesn't cross our mind. And you know what probably annoyed you is that, hey, the store used to be open till 11, and that was great because it meant that I could go at just arrive there at 10 o'clock. It means that, hey, me plus the other people are in the shop, you know.
And this is the thing. So maybe what happens is that they can't staff it for that extra hour.
Yeah.
To the extent that they would be before that, where they would have the security staff on hand.
Well, I also have to wonder about, for example, 24-hour shopping. First place I ever went to for 24-hour shopping was a place I had to go about 15 miles to get to this place in London. And I arrived there at like 12:30, and there was like a lot of people there at the time. They made a big play about how they were open 24/7, and I went in there probably about 12:30. I came out about 1 o'clock, and but I was chatting to one of the staff about what's it like to work in here at at 4 o'clock in the morning. They said, yeah, most of the staff are asleep at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Have a little room where you can doze off.
Yeah. The till staff are sitting there going, whoa.
Yeah. Wake up.
Because there's nobody there. And
yeah, they used to have the A&P. There was an A&P at the Fairview Mall at one time, and that was 24 hours. I used to go shopping there all the time.
We've got Sobbies in the Falls goes 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know if any of them do here anymore, but I'm pretty limited where I go right now.
Yeah. No,
but there used to be a whole lot of stores that were open 24/7.
Yeah, I know Sobbies in the Falls does it in 24/7. But you see, probably the latest I've ever been is probably 11.
Yeah, Shoppers Drug Mart does too.
Yeah.
In some places, some locations.
Well, I've been to Shoppers one time about 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was at the hospital.
Yeah.
The hospital gave me a prescription, said the Shoppers up there will do it. I went there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they were there.
Yeah, exactly.
I was grateful that they were there. But again, sometimes I have to wonder, like at 2 o'clock in the morning when I went to that particular Shoppers, there was nobody there. And I'm thinking, well, they've got 5 members of staff on in the store.
Yep.
And I'm like,
including the pharmacy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going through the store and I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I found all 5 of you. And honestly, at that kind of time in the morning, they've got and maybe 3 people go through in the hour between 2 and 3 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And all they need is a run into the store. Yeah. Where you have like a crowd of about 40 people walking into the store at the same time.
Yeah.
And that would really overwhelm them.
Yeah, that would actually be a problem but that's about store economics, not about the law.
Yeah. I'll be very interested to see if that's ever happened. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never asked.
But I wouldn't mind betting it probably has. But it's the only time I've ever really been into a store at 2 o'clock in the morning was, as I said, prescription. I went to the Shoppers, Lundy's Lane Shoppers. And, at that time in the morning, I tell you, the pharmacist said, you're going to have to wait 20 minutes. And I said, you're going to have to wake me up. He didn't. He gave me this thing that will buzz. And but I was still wide awake when it buzzed.
Yeah. There was different things, like we had to go it's medication usually if I have to go in a place like that.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night.
Well, I'm certainly not going to go to Zayre's or somewhere like that at 2 a.m. because the pharmacist there is not available at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Or you're not going to go in there to get a liter of milk.
No. Okay. And, so that's been kind of an interesting run through the questions of contract law and stores and opening late, etc. So, and buying online, all governed by the same law of contract.
Yeah, buying online. And even though that the provider of services may be in the US and you as the consumer is in Canada and you do it, so what you do is you go on Amazon.ca, then they'll take everything in Canadian funds.
Even if you were to go to Amazon.com and you were to buy stuff that was only available in the US, you can still pay by Canadian funds anyway.
Yep, they have a way of doing that. Yeah, because they have, and then you can sign up with an Amazon membership and that gets sorted, actually. It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's been a short foray through shopping. And I hope that's interested everybody.
Yep.
So if you need to contact us, that's me or Angela, you can do so at Invictus LLP on 905-688-5598. Angela's email address is angela@weareinvictus.legal, and mine is peter@weareinvictus.legal. And you can visit our website at https://weareinvictus.legal. And this is Angela's favorite part of the show, so I'll leave it to Angela.
Okay. What you've heard today on Spin Legal, whether it's this show or any others in our series, this is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, then please contact a paralegal or a lawyer, particularly if you got charged with using the 5-finger discount. You may want to talk to somebody.
We promise not to discriminate. We promise not to discriminate.
Yeah, we don't discriminate. Right? People come in here. I mean, I've represented people who've been charged with shoplifting before. So, I mean, these are things that happen, and people do this for various reasons. Okay, so this is something that to know that we cannot give legal advice on the air, and that sort of thing. But to remind people to give us a call or give another paralegal or lawyer a call if you if something is happening and you want to talk about it.
Okay, and I think we can. Yeah. Well, I'm not going there. All right. Anything else we need to say?
Nope. I think we got a pretty nailed it.
And I thank everybody for being here, and have a great week, and we'll think of another topic for next week and how we might well help you next week on our legal questions and Spin Legal, and that'll be episode 39.
Yeah, and please, if you have any ideas of your own that you want us to talk about, send them along to us. Okay, either in the comment section or on Facebook or on YouTube or on or even here, just send it to us or send it to our emails, and then we can somehow come up with a show to talk about your issue.